I was 12 years old in the stands of Market Square Arena, feeling the funk hit my chest like a second heartbeat. The iconic rock funk band Parliament Funkadelic was on stage, and something happened to me that night that I did not yet have the language to explain. And interestingly enough, standing at Market Square Arena that same night, I got my first of many marijuana contacts. But we won't talk about that. That night did not simply introduce me to the power and seduction of marijuana smoke. It introduced me to myself, and that reverberated around the love of music. It introduced me to the power of great artistry and how music can become, in many ways, one's purpose. Everything I have done since then, the songwriting, the performing, the producing, the years spent studying the craft, sound and language, mixing and engineering, all of it traces back to that moment. So, to understand what that concert meant to me, you have to understand where I come from. I grew up on the east side of Indianapolis, Indiana, in the 1970s and 1980s, in a community rich in culture, rich in creativity, and rich in music. This was a city and a side of town where talent was not rare, it was everywhere. Bands like Manchild came out of that soil, and from that same group came people like legendary songwriters and producers Reggie Griffin, Daryl Simmons, and Kenny Babyface Edmonds. So for me, music was never just about entertainment. I discovered that music was language. It was memory, identity, how we celebrated, how we connected, how we survived, and most importantly, how we expressed everyday life in a way that we could not always convey. Black music, especially, did more than just give us something to listen to. It immersed us in Black culture. It gave us a way to discover something about ourselves before we even had the words for what we were discovering. It taught us beauty, style, resistance, elegance, improvisation, and soul. It showed us that culture was not separate from life. It was life expressed in its full totality. And that is the context I gained at Market Square Arena that night. The power of music, this inescapable energy that hit me before even the music did. And if you were there, you could feel the anticipation feeling in the auditorium, this expectancy across people's faces of something spectacular happening. Everybody waited for something larger than a performance. We were waiting for the arrival of Star Child, Dr. Funkenstein, and George Clinton himself, that whole cosmic world that group created. And when they finally hit the stage, it was not orderly, it was not restrained, it was sound and color and rhythm and distortion and funk and theater, like this spiritual overtaking all at once. It was organized chaos, polyrhythms, grooves colliding in a way that felt supernatural. It was loud, theatrical, powerful, and deeply musical. It was not just a concert. It felt like a ritual, like this baptism into my future, this ceremony that was alive and communal and bigger than any one person in that room. And although a kid, I knew I was witnessing something extraordinary. Even when I could feel that this was culture in motion, not presented in a textbook, not explained from a distance, something that was alive, breathing, and demanding that I feel it. I remember sitting high up in those nosebleed seats, absolutely mesmerized and thinking, this is what I want to do with my life. Not just listen to music, not just admire it. I want to create it. I want to make people feel what I was feeling at that particular moment. That thought never left me. From that night forward, I began a lifelong journey of trying to understand how music moves people, how sound can shift emotion, how rhythm can alter the body, how lyrics can say what people are sometimes unable to say for themselves, and most importantly, how melody can attach itself to memory and stay there for years, tied to joy, heartbreak, longing, vulnerability, intimacy, and even healing. That night did not give me all the answers, but it gave me direction. Songwriting, singing, performing, producing, studying music theory, studying language, studying literature, trying to understand how words and sound work together to tell this powerful truth. All of it traces back to that night in Market Square Arena. And as I look back now, after decades of creating and studying art and Black culture, I understand something even more clearly. Culture is not the backdrop to art. Culture is an existential power that drives creativity, that shapes lives and the world. It lives in the pain found in the voice, the phrasing, the call and response, the tension and the release, and in the irrefutable testimony of people's lives. We all know that every great work of art comes from somewhere. It comes from people, it comes from history, it can come from deep societal wounds, struggle, and traditions. but it all facilitates a way of seeing the world. And when art is disconnected from those roots, something vital gets lost. You may still have a creation, but you do not have the full soul of the thing. So that understanding is at the center of this YouTube channel, Culture and Minor Keys. This channel is where I will explore the intersection of Black culture and art through stories, analysis, music creation, lived experiences. And as a musician, songwriter, lyricist, producer, writer, and author, I have spent a lifetime paying attention to the ways art and culture move through us, how it shapes us, how it reveals to us ourselves in the world. I am not here to tear down other artists or sport. I'm not here for cheap criticism, and I'm not interested in performance outrage, though I will delve into politics and its influence at times. But most of all, I'm committed to telling the truth as I see it, because art influences culture, culture influences people, and whether that influence is constructive or destructive, shallow or profound, it all matters. So, if I do this well, every video will leave you with something. It'll leave you with something to think about, something to feel, something to consider, and most importantly, encouragement to honor your own creative voice. So, that is who I am. That is where I'll be coming from, and this is what this channel will be rooted in. Now, I want to hear from you. What was the moment that changed your life? Was it a concert, a song, a book, a painting, a film, maybe a creative artist? Drop it in the comments. And if this resonates with you, if you want to be a part of a space that takes culture and art and creativity seriously, please subscribe. Culture and Minor Keys. Let's go.